Welcome back. Today, as you will know, the new Finance Minister, Tito Mboweni, will be presenting his midterm budget policy statement. And joining us is Adrian Saville, Dr. Adrian Saville, and he is the CEO of Cannon Asset Managers. And he believes that the Finance Minister is unlikely to unveil any major policy changes in his speech today when he does deliver at about 2 o'clock in Parliament this morning. Dr. Saville, thank you very much for your time. So, the country is in a technical recession. Is Minister Mboweni likely to revise down the 1.5% growth projection for the year 2018?
You take all of the numbers that we've had released in the year to date, and certainly the confirmed numbers that we've had over the first part of the year, it's very hard to see us getting anywhere close to that early forecast. If we rewind a full year going into the ANC electoral conference late 2017, the suggestion was we could possibly even see 3% growth by the end of 2018. That is a long way off the table. And the hard forecasts that were made at the reading of the budget earlier this year of 1.5 type percent also seems to be off the table. So I think we are comfortably, firmly in the arena of sub-1 2018.
So should the minister then be even using this phrase, growth, or should he try and familiarize himself with the term economic recovery then?
Well, recovery, I think, is part of the equation. Growth is an important component to arguably establish confidence in the new administration, send clear signals and messages, particularly to the ratings agencies who are banging on about the growth that is missing in action. But even more than growth, it's important the type of growth that we get. I think there's two critical aspects of the growth that we are looking for in this recovery, as you refer to it. The first is not just more buoyant growth, but investment-led buoyancy. And the second is that the growth that materializes has to be job-creating, job-absorbing. And that, in a word, is about restructuring.
The next key issue, Dr. Saville, is that of tax collection. Are we likely to hear the same old story about missed revenue targets that we saw in the Tom Moyane era?
The thing that you're referring to here is what is called tax buoyancy, and that measures the extent to which tax revenues rise when economic growth occurs. And for a long time, certainly in the recent past, last couple of years, South Africa has been struggling with tax buoyancy. Having said that, the first 6 months of the current fiscal year, 7 months of the current fiscal year, points to a smart recovery in buoyancy. And if anything,
Okay, all right. We seem to have lost Dr. Adrian Saville. A lot more I wanted to pick his brain about, but unfortunately we've lost him for the time being. Hopefully he will possibly talk to us again. Okay, I see he's back. All right. It seems the gods are with us. All right. Let's then quickly touch...
To finish the point, the tax buoyancy that we've seen, especially since the improvement of the raising of the VAT rate earlier this year, points to a good chance that we will over-collect revenue, and spending is actually well contained.
Okay, so it means then that we're going to hear some good news in as far as revenue collection is concerned. Let's talk about government debt. Will the minister, Dr. Saville, be bold enough to address the issue of the wage bill from government and also, importantly, the bloated public service? By the way, we are going into an election next year, just so you know.
I'll take that last point as the jump-off aspect, because it's very hard to talk about public sector wage constraints going into an electoral year, despite the importance, the critical need that we address that. South Africa has very high levels of current spending, in other words, wage spending, relative to other components of the budget expenditure plan. And that spending needs to be not only curtailed, but diverted in turn to investment spending and debt pay down. I think that's the imperative. It's hard to see that argument being made in a big, loud way going into an election year.
All right, 2 quick points, Dr. Saville. We are out of time, so I'm just going to throw them to you at the same time. 1, state-owned companies. What are ratings agency looking for there? And secondly, land reform. How important is certainty in as far as investor sentiment is concerned?
Hard to do those 2 things in a single sentence, but I think the ratings agencies are looking for clarity on the way in which the SOEs are going to be not just funded, but returned to operating efficiency. So we have to remove the financial deficits and the operational deficits. I think that's a critical signal for the ratings agencies. And expropriation without compensation, for a long time I've argued that it is either a disaster waiting to happen or it is the most spectacular prospect. And if we get clear signaling and illustration or demonstration of an effective policy that can be put around EWC, I think there is a huge prospect here to turn this into a real needle mover for South African economic and social restructuring.
Dr. Adrian Saville, thank you very much for your time.